Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto Was Taken by the Shinigami. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode over Anime King of What If Naruto Opened the Gate of Alchemy and Awaken All Abilities. So go ahead and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yes, I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Making 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, would you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, after the smoke cleared, several people were shocked at the sight that they saw, as they couldn't believe it. A massive bird stood in mid-air. It was not a normal bird though. Its name was Asuka and it was a boss of the Thunderbirds. The thing was immensely large as its shadow was blanketing a part of the village. It flapped its wing as it moved towards Shikaku, who had just formed. The moment Shikaku formed, something powerful slammed into it. It was blown back. Shikaku became furious as he got back to his feet. Upon reaching to his feet, he turned. As he looked towards the bird, Mito and Sasuke, who were in the process of fighting Gaara, came to a stop. As Mito was helping Sasuke up as he was exhausted, as his body was extremely weak from using the curse mark. But Mito was surprised as she looked towards the giant bird. She watched as someone jumped up in the air. The person was distracting Shikaku with the bird before he brought his hand up. It was then that she saw the largest Rasengan she has ever seen before, as it slammed viciously into Shikaku. But not only that, chains erupted from him as they tear through Shikaku. But some of Naruto's chains were out of control as his body still hadn't regulated yet. The chains decimated the area, but Shikaku was brought down as the chains started to suppress the Bichu's power. Naruto placed a seal on Gaara, a quick seal to suppress him, as Gaara fell asleep. As Naruto landed, it was then that Mito saw the handsome person, confused and didn't know who he was. As Naruto gave them a job to watch over Gaara, as he wouldn't be waking up for a while now. With that, he flashed away back towards the village. As he started to move, Kushina was making her way as she saw the bird. As she saw the thing tear several snakes apart, Jiraiya was confused as he knew only one person could summon the Thunderbirds, as they were very rare when it comes to their contract, and they have to find you worthy. Just like every other summoning contract, but they were very picky when it comes to their summoners, as the Thunderbirds were very powerful creatures, said to be on par with Bijus. So that is why Jiraiya was confused who was the one that summoned it. As Naruto landed on the roof, arriving there Yuchio. As Naruto could hear her voice. It might sound a bit older, but it was her. As he said something that she remembered from the past, a secret that only he would know, but it made no sense. How was he alive? He promised to explain later, but for now she needed to trust him. As Naruto was able to bypass the seal, after using his chakra to overload Teiwaya as he grabbed her and threw her towards the others. Yuchio bind her and she suppressed the girl's chakra, as Naruto was able to slip in but the hold behind him closed. Upon entering, he found Minato, who was unable to believe who he was seeing. Orochimaru stepped back as he saw the Limitless. Minato told Naruto that he needed time, still skeptical about the whole thing. Asked Naruto, hold off the two Kages and Orochimaru, while Minato was able to perform the seal as he sealed the soul away. As he released the jutsu, making their soul return back to the afterlife. Orochimaru was furious, as Naruto was confused because Orochimaru was a part of the village while he was still here. There was a reason why Orochimaru had not tried to defect, because he knew that he could not leave if Naruto were to caught sight that he was trying to escape. The both of them didn't get along, unlike Naruto with Tsunade and Jiraiya. He never liked the snake. It was time that he put him in his place. As Naruto clenched his fist when he heard what Orochimaru did for leaving the village, so he attacked the man quite viciously. Orochimaru tried, but as he tried, he could not get past the Limitless. As Naruto has been trained this entire time, and his power that was immense before had just quadrupled. Orochimaru stood no chance in the face of total annihilation as Naruto wiped him from the face of the world. The barrier fell as the rest of the Zone 4 was captured. It was then that Kushina landed along with Mito, as Naruto asked her what took so long. As Kushina looked at him at first, not saying a single word, Minato would see his wife's reaction first before he say anything. As his wife was quite adept to sensing chakra, she was a powerful sensor, so he needed to see how she'd react first seeing this person, or if this person was an imposter of some sorts. But he watches his wife barreled into Naruto and hugged him rather viciously, as she couldn't believe it, tears pooling from her eyes. "Baby brother," she said, despite him being a full-grown man, and a fair bit taller than her. Mito was shocked, as she remembered her, well, she basically said that he was so handsome. He was her uncle. But he was still handsome, but still. He was her uncle. Wait, her uncle? Her uncle was dead. What the hell was going on? So yeah guys, as basically as well left off, you guys can switch across to the place and check it out for yourself. So let's begin this new episode. The ninja world was a fast place. The elemental nation, news, traveled fast. Yes, immensely fast. It has just been 2 days. 2 days since the attack on Konoha. 2 days since Orochimaru's Sanin was erased from this reality, no longer to be seen ever again. The Sand siblings were still under Konoha control, as they were captured during the invasion, as they were a big key part in Konoha having a huge advantage over the Sand. Despite Minato being a person that would show sympathy and kindness to people, he would not let anything or anyone threaten his village. But the Sand had came with their terms, saying that they were manipulated by Orochimaru for doing this. They were currently going over talks about what was gonna happen, but that was not what was being said all around the elemental nation. The Limitless had been brought back to life. People were shocked. Enemy ninjas that heard about this fear that name. Minato was a feared man across the elemental nation, but the Limitless, to know that he was back in reality and now a part of Konoha. Konoha's strength and ranking just went up despite already being at number 1. Thoughts were on Oniki's mind for invading a particular time in the future, because he was still angry at the loss of so much of his people in the Third Great Shinigami War. But now that the Limitless was back, Oniki's thoughts returned back to the massacre that happened to his men when those two had touched on the battlefield. A war that was supposed to go on for months had ended within days when those two arrived. They decimated, they reaped. They then left no stones unturned. The enemy ninjas were wiped out by those two. The Limitless had so much chakra, the reason for his name. Minato, on the other hand, was quick, fast with his High-Shin. Even though the Limitless did not use the High-Shin like Minato, some say that he was faster with his natural speed. His body was able to react and move at an alarming rate. It was just shocking to most that fight him. A particular group, though, was receiving the information about the Limitless being brought back to life. And that was none other than the Akatsuki goal, collecting all tail beasts, for two reasons, one of them being hidden. The group had just had a meeting. The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was Itachi and Kisami's target, but they were supposed to be cautious because of the father, that was Minato. But now that the Limitless was back, they were not to go anywhere near Konoha. Going after that girl. Limitless was her uncle, and her father being Yellow Flash. They would not be coming back alive, and Pain couldn't afford to lose two of his best members right now. As Conan stood in front of Pain, a thought was on her mind since she heard about the news. Could someone within Konoha possess the same eyes as you? As that was the only thought that popped into her head. For the man to be fully brought back to life, that was just not possible. He has been dead for 12 years. I am the only one that possessed these eyes, said Pain, speaking like the benevolent god that he was. I am not sure how he's been brought back to life, but we will have Zetsu survey the area and find out as much as he can. And what is the goal on taking the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? Asked Conan. As for a moment Pain said nothing. His mind seemed to be struggling with his thoughts. Minato was already a powerful opponent to go against. Pain was a god, yes he was, but even in his delusional grandeur, he knew that Minato was powerful. And he had to be cautious, but he was still a god and he believed that he can make Minato bow to his whims. But now that the Limitless was back, he heard the stories. He heard the stories from the past. And if the man was truly alive, had he been training this entire time? Had his death been a hoax or something like that? Where has he been if that was the case? He needed answers before he made up his mind. So for once, he did not have an answer for Conan. Conan, on the other hand, had heard the stories. She heard them quite vague as well. She heard what he did in the war. She heard how powerful he was, taking on platoon of ninjas without even breaking a sweat. They had to be careful doing this. She glanced towards her oldest friend. As the both of them had been together for a long time now, she knew his thoughts. She could basically read them like a book. She just hoped that he didn't let his eyes take over his mind's sight and make him believe that he should rush into this and go up against the Yellow Flash and Limitless. That would just be plain stupid. Meanwhile, at Konoha, Kushina was pouting quite angrily as she was locked out of the room. The examination room. Inside was Snazzy and Naruto. Snazzy had only stayed in the village for Kushina. She wanted to be out there drinking herself into a stupor, but Kushina and Naruto were like family to her. And when the death of Naruto happened, the woman was broken even more. After all, she had lost so much, but Kushina had pleaded with her that night. When she had found her leaving the village, she had cried. She didn't want to lose her as well, as she was a part of her life. And after just recently losing her brother, she was in a weak state. Even though Minato was there and their newborn baby was there, she needed help. So, Snazzy had stayed, along with Shizune. She had stayed, as she could help raise Mito. Even though she never had a child of her own, it made her happy raising Mito. Whenever Kushina or Minato need time alone, as she liked the kid very well. Jiraiya had been here a few times, but he had to be out with his spine at work. At the moment though, Minato and Kushina were outside. Reason being, Kushina kept on making up a fuss, as Naruto still hadn't explained anything yet. Seeing that Snazzy was not here for Chunin exams, there was an outbreak near in the Fire Nation. Shizune had been left, along with several of our most important medics. Shizune taking control, so there was nothing to worry about the hospital staff. Snazzy was not here for the Chunin exams. Well, she was gonna try and make it, but things got a bit more hectic than she thought. Coming back to find out that Naruto was alive was quite the shocker. After he had finished that fight, he had fell asleep. Given that he was dead for the past 12 years, you thought that he would be quite energetic, but He was exhausted, his body finally coming off its high of waking up after 12 years. And he had slept for a day and a half, causing the others to worry, but he was still alive and kicking. Seeing that Kushina woke him every minute or so to see if he was still breathing, despite she could see his chest rising and moving and his pulse was still there. But he ended up just falling asleep right afterwards. She was just worried. Inside the examiner room though, Snatty was shining a flashlight, a small one, into the eyes. As he blinked several times, she pulled back as she wrote something in her clipboard. As she looked down towards the blonde, as he gave her a smirk, but he was not looking at her face. Instead, he was looking at her chest. Her eye twitched violently. Yes, that was exactly like him. If one would say that he was not the original Naruto, they would be mistaken because, for one thing, him and Jiraiya had these certain habits which she hated. They were perverts. Naruto and Jiraiya was the biggest perverts. Naruto had settled down after he met Kurnai, but now some of that old pervertness was popping out. As Naruto looked at her chest, caused Naruto to twitch violently because he was doing it so openly. He was not looking away. Instead, he was admiring them. He took it upon himself to look around, to see them from the side and up and down. She gripped the clipboard until it broke, as he chuckled nervously. "Come on," said Naruto. "I'm just impressed. They have grown even larger." She swung her fist as he ducked. "Would you really hate your patient?" "When my patient is a damn pervert, yes I would," she said to him, before she calmed herself down. As Naruto looked at her, "So, you checked me out. Am I okay?" She picked it back up. "I'm gonna need you to pee in this," she said. As Naruto blinked several times. "It's routine," she said, before she snapped on gloves. What are you doing with those?" said Naruto. "There's another test I have to run, just to make sure that you're okay." "With gloves?" "Yes," she said, that smile. A smile that put him on edge. "Now, drop your pants and bend over." "You're joking, right?" said Naruto, as he looked at her. As she laughed. "No, I'm dead serious," she said to him. Outside, the group heard Naruto scream. As Mito froze. What's going on?" "Be quiet, you baby," said Snatty. "Oh yeah, right. You can say that," shouted Naruto back. "What's going on in there?" said Mito. "She's running an exam on him to make sure that everything is okay," said Minato as he sat patiently. "I'm sure they will be done very soon." As Mito sat down. "So, aren't we gonna talk about the elephant in the room?" said Kushina. "I mean, that's Uncle Naruto, right?" As Kushina nodded. "Yes, I have no doubt about that. But Mom, he's been dead for 12 years. 12 years. I never even saw him once. And now he's alive. This makes no sense." "I don't understand it myself either, until he explains. But he slept so much that he wasn't able to. I'm sure once it's all over he will explain himself, and what exactly is going on, and how exactly he's alive." "Do you think he faked his death and ran away?" said Mito. "He wouldn't do something like that," said Kushina. "I know him and he would never do that. Besides, the moment he found out I was pregnant with you, he wanted to meet you. If somehow he had survived the Helios extraction, he would have been here in an instant to be with you. I'm sure he's gonna explain himself." Footsteps could be heard as Jiraiya, along with Harrison, arrived on the scene. "So, how's our patient going?" The moment Jiraiya said that, something broke inside. "You little shit," said Snatty, as something else broke. As Harrison's sweat dropped. "What's going on in there?" he asked. "Nothing good," said Minato. As those two were always bickering. They loved each other, but Naruto, being who he was, and Snatty having a rather sizable chest, it caused many bickering between the two. A moment later, Snatty came out. "Just get dressed, you idiot," she said, as she stepped outside. As she saw all of them there. "You know, it's not good crowding up my hall like this," she said, as she calmly sat down where the others were sitting. as they all still stared at her. "He's okay," she said, as she started to look at her clipboard, ignoring the rest of them once again. "Snatty," said Minato. "What?" she said to him. "Don't you have anything else to say?" "Well, not really," she said, as she wrote something on the clipboard, as she clicked the pen, and clicked it and clicked it and clicked it. "Look, I'm as freaked out as all of you. He's alive. As far as I can tell, no one did any jutsu to risk their life to bring him back. He was dead for 12 years, but now he's on his feet, and he's completely fine. Not a cold, not a blister, not even... he's just fine. Somehow, while on the ground, his body has grown to fit his age that he is right now." "So you're saying that he didn't stop growing," said Jiraiya. For once, Jiraiya was completely serious. "No, he grew the entire time. Judging that his clothes could not fit him. Yes, he grew the entire time," she said. "And there is nothing wrong with his body, except for nature chakra, which I can presume, running through his system. And it doesn't seem to be leaving him anytime soon." Minato raised her eyebrow. "Nature chakra? Did he gather it in there?" "That's the thing. He did not." "But it can't be from the fight, can it?" said Minato. "It's supposed to run out by now." "And not to mention, when we saw him, there was no changes," said Jiraiya. "I mean, his face, nothing changed, so why does he still have nature chakra running through his system?" "Well, from what he says, he was petrified in stone. Similar to what happened when you overuse nature energy." "That's not possible," said Jiraiya. "If I have learned one thing from Mount Miyaboku once, you turn into a statue. There is no returning." "Well, I guess I'm just that awesome." Mito turned her gaze towards him as she saw Naruto exit. He was wearing some silver baggy pants and a shirt that was too large for him. As he pulled at it, "Kushina," he said, looking towards the shirt. "I'm a bit bigger, but not this big," said Naruto. "Well, I don't really know your exact size," she said to him. But despite as she spoke, she had a smile on her face. "The few days has been so unreal. He was actually here. He was alive." "So, are we gonna do this here or somewhere private?" said Naruto, as Minato got up and motioned for all of them to come with him. So with that they moved, including Snatty, as he moved towards the tower. Upon walking on the street, everyone stopped what they were doing instantly, as they saw all these powerful figures moving through the streets. As many female of the group started to blush openly. Minato was incredibly handsome. Many girls were jealous that Kushina had gotten to him first, being the Hokage, the yellow flash, and not to mention with those looks. He was a perfect 10, shattering the record. But Naruto, on the other hand, his face was more lean. Given the fact that before he died there was a competition going on of who was the most handsome between him or Minato, it seems like with age, his handsomeness seems to just increase. His blonde hair with the red tips sway in the wind as Naruto looked around the village, as he saw the damage that the invasion brought. But at least the people's spirit were not dampered. They were actually booming, as Minato took note of that as he smiled. The people need their spirit left. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of damage in the invasion, and they lost a couple of civilians. And there was many sad people, despite some of them trying to hide that sadness with fake smiles. Because one of their longtime heroes had returned to the village, and alive. Minato and the others being there was the only reason why Naruto hadn't been bombarded yet for questions. But Minato knew that he will have to give out a speech very soon. But that is after they got to the Hokage's tower. Naruto was the one that insists that they took this walk. As the group made their way towards the council room, the other clan heads have already been called, along with the elders as well, as Danzo was already there to be a part of this little meeting that was going to take place. The members of the clan heads were still shocked. They were shocked, yes, very much so, as they saw Minato step in, along with Kushina and the others. As Naruto spoke first, "Tatsumi," he said. "Long time no see." Tatsumi sniffed. "It's you, alright." "My nose don't forget a scent even after a long couple of years has passed." "You're truly alive," she said to him, still shocked at the whole event. "And you're still beautiful," said Naruto as he looked her over. "And still hot." "Well, a woman got to keep in shape," she told him, as Jiraiya placed a hand over his heart. Snelly really wanted to punch him, as he was at fault for Naruto's attitude. Both of them hanging out a bit too much, although Naruto was a pervert on his own as well, but Jiraiya kind of enhanced it. Even though Naruto was not directly a student, he did teach him a few things. And also Jiraiya saw that Naruto was a lot different from Minato, and Naruto was more like him when it comes towards his super pervert. As Tatsumi gave Naruto a wry smile, he was always flirting with her. Him and her daughter was a thing once, and he used to come by the Inazaka compound, but things didn't work out between them, at least. He didn't do anything that would make her want to kill him, like cheat on her daughter. At least when he was with women, he was respectful, something that she admired about him. Despite him being a pervert, well, most people knew that. But Jiraiya was a super pervert, but most people did not care. As Naruto looked around the room, as he saw the faces of the other people, some of them has really grown. His eyes then landed on the three elders. "Ah, Homura-san, Koharu-san, Danzo-san, you've guys gotten old," said Naruto. As many people in the room wanted to laugh, but they suppressed it. Tatsumi on the other hand placed a hand over her mouth, and Naruto bluntly stating the obvious. "Well, given that you've been dead for the past 12 years, aging does happen," said Homura, as he looked towards one of the heroes of the leaf. Homura had great respect for this boy. Some of his tendencies he could do without, but Homura had knew the boy from when he was young. After all, Hiruzen had took great interest in him and Kushina, but Hiruzen had mostly took on Naruto as a little apprentice, and be good friends of the third Hokage. Homura used to be a shinobi in the past until he retired, but there was still a few things that he could teach, and Naruto was always up for learning, and whenever he knew that he could learn something different or exciting, he was rather respectful, so that is where the respectful attitude came from. And that is where the respect came from Homura. On the other hand, Koharu kind of gave Naruto a little glare. They didn't really get along that good, but she still respected him. Danzo on the other hand looked towards Naruto with a neutral expression. Danzo was angry that he could never get Naruto under his control. The boy would have been wonderful en route, but Hiruzen had kept a close tab on Naruto, so Danzo could not approach him for his dealings, and not to mention, in the beginning Naruto was a bit too flashy, as he was too world known and wide, so if he was to go off the grid, people would suspect that something was wrong. He became popular too early, so Danzo could not sink his fangs into him and bring him into his fold. But still, Danzo wanted the betterment of Konoha even if he does it in terrible ways, and for that he respected Naruto. He was someone that get the job done, no matter how difficult the situation was. As Danzo turned his gaze towards the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, as Mito froze. She didn't know why she was even in here, as no kids were in here either, it was just all grown-ups. She had just followed behind the group and they hadn't said anything. "This is adult time. You need to leave, child." The group was confused until they turned, as Kushina and Minato saw Mito standing there. They weren't even focusing as the girl had followed them in here. "Oh, come on now," said Naruto, as he saw there was an empty seat, as he made his way and sat down along with Mito. The girl started blushing in embarrassment as he placed her on his leg to sit down. "I'm sure my niece here would like to hear what happened as well. She's probably curious. Well, the entire village is." Minato took his seat along with the others. "Well then, if you don't mind, would you mind telling us exactly what happened to you?" asked Minato. "Yeah, we're all dying to hear," said Tatsumi, as the other clan heads nodded in agreement. except for one that was a bit stiff. Well, he wanted to hear as well, but he was just focused on the blonde. And that was Osama Saratobi. No clan head of the Saratobi clan after Harrison had retired and taken up his role as an advisor. Well, where do I start? Said Naruto. First thing first, the moment the Kyuubi attacked the village, Mito stopped blushing in embarrassment as she focused on what he was saying, and Minato pushed the fox out of the village and started to lure everyone around. I knew what he was doing. As Naruto focused on the man, I knew that you were going to seal it away. And when you came back for your child, I knew what you were going to do. But I had a backup plan. We could not use a 9-pointer seal like Mito had. Mito looked up at him. Oh, not you, said Naruto. I'm talking about past Uzumaki. Mito Uzumaki, said Naruto. A powerful woman. Because of her high, powerful chakra, she was able to control the tail-based chakra inside of her. But it came at a cost. That seal almost killed her. And there was a high chance of death on you or your mother if she was the one to reseal the beast inside of her. And not to mention the time that it would be needed to prepare that seal. It would require too much. So that was a no-no. But the repair of that seal was much quicker, even though it came at a hefty price. But you know me, said Naruto. Let me guess, said Shikaku. Always have a plan. As he looked towards the blonde with a small smirk. As everyone knew that, Naruto always seemed to just pull plans out of his ass, like it was a walk in the park for him. He always had a backup, on top of backups, that would surprise you. Well, you know me, said Naruto. Mito had forbidden us to study a few things about Fuinjutsu in the past, when she was teaching us. And those were the lost arts of certain seals. A certain seal. The dead man copy seal. The dead man copy seal? Yes, said Naruto. As Kushina looked towards him with a surprised look. You learned it? She told us never to touch that one. Exactly, said Naruto. But I got curious. A seal that was created by Uzumaki a long time ago. Before even Mito's time. But it was defective. Saying to tamper with arts that are beyond the normal perspective of shinobis. Arts like what exactly? Said Homura. Dealings with the Shinigami, said Naruto. Having a direct connection with the dead god. It's a total different seal from the Shikifusion. It is able to communicate with a different entity. I'm not entirely sure what it was. But it was wrong, said Naruto. It was, said Kushner. Yes, said Naruto. When I tried it, I did it in secret away from the village while on a mission, said Naruto. As the group looked at him. But he continued to speak. I did not try it on myself though. I used a clone and I wanted to see what would happen. But the clone poofed away instantly because the chakra that you required to use was too much. It was then that I started to tweak it a bit and start to learn the mechanics of the seal. What it does is, it's slowly but surely take chakra from the wheeler as time go on. The more time, the more chakra it takes. Just like that seal on your forehead, Bachan, said Naruto. As Natty, remember that nickname of his, but she shrugged it off because the time was serious right now. You mean, it stores your chakra away, for you to use it? Well, not me exactly, said Naruto. Well, my body to be exact. The more chakra it stores away, the bigger chance it have of working. And a lot of my chakra was stored away. And you all know how much chakra I have. The group went wide-eyed at that, knowing why he was called Limitless. So I had a bigger chance of this working. So when the time came for the fox to be sealed away, I decided to activate said seal. I had felt it constrict my heart. It placed my heart in a dome of chakra and marked it several times over with the seals, putting me in a state of total calm. I could already feel it taking effects, so I had to do the sealing process quickly. So after separating the fox in half, I brought half of it with me with the Shinigami, who ripped out my soul, but my body was kept in contact. You two were a distance away, so you probably didn't see the markings burn into my skin before vanishing. And thus my body was kept preserved. And my life, despite my soul being ripped from my body, I wasn't completely dead. But that is where the second part of the seals comes in. After I was buried, said Naruto, the seal activate once again. That is where it connected nature. And in doing so, my body was able to keep sustained for these past 12 years. The nutrients from the earth, the nature around me. That is why I found the nature chakra in your system, said Tsunade. Exactly, said Naruto. I'm not sure how long that will stay. But my body was placed in a form of crystallization after overuse of the nature energy. But it was a good effect this time. As I was in that state, my body was kept preserved. While my soul was not in there, my body was technically not that completely dead. But I checked you myself, said Tsunade. You were gone. The seal just made it look that way, said Naruto. But I was not completely dead. So for 12 long years I was there. Until someone decided to bring back my soul to this world. And in doing so, the seal called out for my soul and pulled it back. But, said Minato confused, the Reaper Death seal you went into the belly of the Shinigami. The Edo Tensei was not allowed to bring your soul back. That's the seal working at its finest, said Naruto. It just needed a beacon. Once the jutsu was activated and Orochimaru attempted to pull my soul away. My chakra was pulsed in the area. And then, it connected to the seal. And the seal was like a magnet, pulling my soul. The effects of the dead man's seal was able to counteract the Shikifusion because of all the chakra that was stored away inside of it, and I'm guessing it worked. That is why I didn't tell you guys about this, because I have no idea if it would work or not. But, in the end, it did work. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. Hearing this explanation made him feel a lot better, as he was still worried. Kushina wanted to ask him so much and tell him so much, but not in the council room. But that means, this entire time you were with the Shinigami, the voice of Shibi came out, saying a question that everyone wanted to ask, but they did not say anything about it, even Danzo. As Naruto's face went solemn, yes, he said. As the group looked at him, seeing if he would elaborate, which he did. As Mito felt his legs shift a bit, his body tense a bit. Let's just say that is no place for someone to be, said Naruto. But it was a sacrifice that I had to take. It's over with now. Those memories, said Inoichi, they are still with you. Yes, and many more, said Naruto. As the look on his face was grim. As Kushina looked towards her brother, as she glanced towards Inoichi, they would have to do something about that. Coming back from 12 years of being with the god of death. As Tsunade looked at Naruto concerned, they all did. As he wondered if he was completely alright. They had to have Inoichi, who was the top medical expert when it comes to the mind. Take a look at him, before he could be cleared for anything else. Naruto sighed. You and I will have a bit of a talk, Inoichi, he said. Inoichi was glad that Naruto was being cooperative, because some people would try to deny the fact that something was wrong with them, so this was a good sign. But something good came out of it though. Well, more than one, said Naruto. As he ruffled Mito's hair, drawing everyone's attention to her. She looked down, as Kushina laughed, seeing her daughter so embarrassed. As Naruto lifted her up before he placed her in a seat. But that is not all he said. In my time away, I was able to gain an agreement with the fox, said Naruto, as he slowly lifted off his shirt. As Tasumi narrowed her eyes at his chest. Right now he was just showing off. Well-toned, perfect six-packs and pecs. Why are you stripping, said Kushina. To show this, said Naruto, as he placed his hand on his chest. It was then a massive seal and a ray spread over his chest. "What is that?" said Jiraiya. "As I said while I was away, I managed to come to an agreement with the nine-tailed fox that was sealed inside of the stomach of the Shinigami. And just like me, he didn't want to be there as well. So, I was able to come back with him. But after 12 years, even the worstest enemies could become friends," said Naruto. "What are you saying?" said Choza. "The fox and I are good friends," said Naruto, as he glanced towards Mito. "I know how grumpy his other half is, even worse than him. So we're gonna have to have a little chat, alright?" As he gave her a smile. She nodded, as she didn't even know what she was agreeing to. She just didn't want too much eyes focused on her. Mito was an outgoing person, brave, bold, but these were all the top heads of Konoha and they were all looking at her. But she took a deep breath. She will have to be here one day in her father's seat when she takes his title, because she will become Hokage. Yes, she will, and nothing would stop her. "So you're saying that you managed to control the other half of the fox?" said Jiraiya in shock. As the people in the room were just taken aback. Even in death, he managed to do something amazing. Danzo saw the opportunity for Konoha to return back to something even more great. Know that he had two Jinchurikis, and there was no doubt that he would want to train his niece into using the power of the fox. As Naruto nodded, "He's a nice fluffy furball when you get to know him good," said Naruto. As everyone inside was shocked at hearing that. "What?" said Kurama inside Naruto's head. "What? I'm telling the truth," said Naruto. "Do I look like a furball to you?" "Well, your fur is quite fluffy," said Naruto. "So, am I wrong?" As Kurama eye twitched. "You know, if this had been 12 years ago, I would have eat you," he said. "Yeah, I know," said Naruto. "But you wouldn't eat your best friend." "And who says you're my best friend?" As Naruto placed a hand over his heart. "I'm hurt. You wound me, Kurama," he said. "You deserve it," Kurama said, as Naruto dropped back. "Once again, you managed to break me." As he lied on his mindscape. "Your attempts of amusing me will not work," as Naruto curled up in a fetal position. "Stupid human," said Kurama, as he sat down on his paws. As he closed his eyes, as Naruto got back up, before he pet him right on the nose. "You just go ahead and get some rest. We both deserve it," said Naruto. "After all the hell we've been through." "You're not gonna tell them," said Kurama. As Naruto looked towards him. "I'm here now. Everyone's happy. Let's not bring up anything dreadful. You know you will have to, right?" "Yeah, soon," said Naruto. "But not now, okay?" Kurama nodded. As Naruto focused on the people, as no time seemed to have passed. "So that's pretty much it," said Naruto. "And you've examined him," said Homura as he looked towards Nebi. "Yes. He's 100% alright. No health injuries or anything like that. He's okay." "Well then," said Naruto as he stretched. "I've been too long away from my home. I would like to catch up with my family and hear what has been going on for the past 12 years. After seeing Orochimaru, an enemy of the leaf, I need to know what the hell is going on," said Naruto, as he turned his gaze towards Minato. Time skip. As Naruto stood on top of the monument, he had spent a few hours with Kushina and the others. He had spoken to Inoichi, and they would have their talk tomorrow for their first session, for Inoichi to make sure that everything was okay. As Naruto glanced up at the dark sky, as the world turned red, the sky started to pour blood, before everything snapped back to normal, as Naruto blinked several times, as he wiped his eyes, before he looked around the area, realizing he was on the monument, as he took a breath. There wasn't much that they have talked about yet, serious village issues to be exact, as he mainly caught up with his sister, and he get to know his niece. Quite a feisty one she was. She was just like Kushina when she was younger, as he was happy to see everyone. But he knew that a lot has happened, and there was many people that he had to talk to. Kakashi, Asuma, Genma, Hayate, several others, Yujiro, Anko. There were so many of them. Mikoto. There were so many that he had to talk to. But there was one person that he was waiting on while he was up here. As he already sent her a message, he felt the person appear behind him. As Naruto turned, as he saw her, her eyes were still the same. She looked like she hasn't changed a bit. Still as beautiful as he remembered. Her ruby eyes looked at him. As she looked out of it, still unable to grasp that he was actually alive. After 12 years of missing him so much, he was actually here. Neither of them said anything for a long while, as they just stared at each other, not moving, not blinking, until Naruto stepped forward as he paused. "Do you know what I want to do right now?" said Naruto. Her words came out soft. What, she asked. "Well, when I first saw you, I want to take you in my arms, kiss you, tell you how much I missed and love you, and then make sweet, passionate love to you right here." As Kurenai looked at him without saying anything, "But I realized I've been gone for 12 years. I didn't expect you to wait for me. After all, I was dead," he said. A small giggle escaped her lips. Even in the worst situations, he could make you laugh. As she started to cry, she rushed over as she hugged him. As Naruto did not waste any time hugging her back, as his arms wrapped around her. "I'm sorry," she said. As Kurenai stepped away from him, "I missed you. God knows how much I missed you. When I heard that you had died, it was too much. It took me out of the game for a while. But your sister, everyone, they were there for me. Even though they were in pain as well, they were there for me as well, to make sure I was alright. And after a time, I moved on. Me and..." As she paused, as Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder, "It's alright. Me and Asuma are together now," she said. "That bastard," said Naruto, "stealing my girl." His tone was jovial as he spoke, as it made her laugh. "Guess I'll have to tie him to a flagpole or something. You know, embarrass him. Maybe steal his clothes away and tie him up naked." As that made her laugh even more, as she knew what he was doing. He was doing this to make sure that she was not sad. That was his whole thing. He was just too nice, so sweet, always looking out for others. "I'm sorry. I can't just, and I don't expect you to," said Naruto. "After all, I've been gone for a long while. Kurenai, I'm just happy that you're happy. And I promise I won't impose myself on anything that comes towards you and Asuma. You're happy now. I am happy because of that." As Naruto would never try to take away her happiness. Yes, they were together. Yes, they had loved each other so much. Yes, the thought of her and getting back to her, kissing her, touching her, being with her, was always on his mind while in the stomach of the Shinigami. But he knew that 12 years has passed, and that time was long gone, even though he could never see her. He just wanted her to be happy, as she was. He didn't want his appearance to bring up bad feelings or put her in pain. "We can be friends," said Naruto. As much as it made him sad, he wanted her to be happy. Do you think we can?" she said. "I don't want to." "It's alright," said Naruto. "As I said, Kuren, I want you to be happy. And come on, we were friends before after all. Aren't you happy to see your friend?" "Of course I'm happy to see you," she told him, as she hugged him once more. As she pulled back, as Naruto stepped away from her, frightened, as he saw her face melting. "Naruto," she said, as everything snapped back to reality. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Sorry about that," said Naruto. "What happened?" she said. Just a reflex movement. I'm fine. Are you sure? I'm fine, said Naruto. Don't worry, the Hokage will explain everything to the village. Everyone has been talking that you're back, but they want the full proof, you know, she said. Don't worry, they will get it very soon, said Naruto. She stepped down as she sat, motioning for the seat beside her. You've missed a lot. A lot has happened while you were away from the village. Yeah, you're telling me, said Naruto. Everyone has grown. They're different. Well, talk to them. You will see that you're still the same person that you left behind. Well, emotional. And personality-wise, they just changed a bit. Well, guess I'll have to find and catch up with everyone, said Naruto. How about you give me some news about what has been going on since I've been gone, said Naruto. For one thing, where the hell are the Uchihas? I mean, I haven't seen one. Well, except for that kid that was with Mito. He looks so much like Itachi, without those stressed lines on his face. I'm guessing that he's Itachi's younger brother. What was his name again? Oh yeah, Sasuke, said Naruto, as you remember Minato telling him his name. Sasuke was a bit older than Mito. As Naruto saw a sad look on Kurena's face. Hey, what's wrong? Hey, come on, said Naruto. You know you can tell me anything. What's up? It's the Uchiha clan. Yeah, what about them, said Naruto. There was an incident. Incident? Revolving around Itachi. Itachi, sweet kid, said Naruto. What's up with him? She looked at Naruto. She found it hard to tell him. As she took his hand. They're gone. I don't understand, said Naruto. I'm sorry, but the Uchihas are gone. They were all murdered. As Naruto's face twisted, Kurena didn't know if it was some sort of trickery that she saw. But for a moment she saw something move across Naruto's face. Not emotions. Something literally moved across his face. As she wondered if it was a trickery of the shadow or something. What do you mean they're gone? Said Naruto. Asked her once again. It was Itachi. He killed them all. What? Meanwhile, at the unknown era, two pair of dark eyes opened. As these eyes were none other than Itachi Uchiha. As he felt a feeling of dread wash over him. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want some sports and do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends and social media platform. But I'm off for now, see you guys soon. Peace.